'cause I believe in you.
Welcome to Unstoppable, presented by Virginia Baptist Foundation. I'm Pastor Kevin Swan of Newport News. During this study, we'll hear powerful stories from Christians, real people who face real challenges, including some of life's greatest adversities. We'll explore how these believers cope with disappointment and despair, how Scripture sustained them through tragedy, trial, and tribulation, and how God eventually transformed their pain into purpose, empowering them as unstoppable. So let's start with Steve Lohr, whose passion brought him world acclaim.
Hello, I'm Steve Lohr from Sparta, Virginia. We're here on what we call Lohr's Lake, which is a 30-acre old colonial mill pond that we've used for water skiing for the last 50 years. Well, our passion has been water skiing. I got involved, I guess I rode my first sheet of plywood when I was about 4 years old. And my dad brought home a set of skis when I was 8. Entered my first tournament at 15 and have been wasting many a summer or many a winter and any other time that I could get on the water enjoying competitive water skiing. We've been all over the country skiing in national water ski championships. The Eastern Regionals we typically attend somewhere between here and Maine. And with the kids, we travel to Canada, Mexico, and South America. Well, water skiing is an interesting sport. It's one that when you're out on the water, it's a feeling of, I guess, excitement. You're skimming across the water. You are accomplishing new and different maneuvers or skills all the time. When you learn a new trick in the trick skiing event, that's exciting. If you run an extra buoy, that can certainly be exciting in the slalom event. In my younger years, I enjoyed riding over the jump. In March, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I think it's called small cell neuroendocrine carcinoma. The immediate reaction was, I need to know more information. I need data. I need, to know what's going on. And I guess I had certainly a feeling of very short term. I've got to get my act together.
I have to say, I think it's an up and down thing. Some days, I feel like that my world is ending, and then the next day I feel like that, we're very fortunate that we have time to do things. We've been very fortunate so far that I think Steve has felt fairly good and been able to do the things that he likes to do and wants to do. And I wasn't sure how that was going to be, and I guess I feel like that I never know from one week to the next, whether it's going to be a good week or a not so good week or whatever. So far, like I said, we've been very fortunate.
The reality of cancer, as one of my friends said to Ann, every day is different once you're diagnosed with cancer. There's no turning back. There are no days that it's not there. And I think it's constantly in your mind, so it's constantly, you're thinking about it. But at the same time, it's in a way peaceful. It's not a harried, awful as it might sound. It's the reality of life. I learned the 23rd song when I was a kid. that was very, always has been very, important to me. And obviously hearing it at funerals and hearing it whenever my grandchildren recite it or whatever, it's always been very comforting. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I came here with very little and was very fortunate to get a good education and get good direction from parents and friends and others, and felt like that I needed to give back, but I didn't always know exactly which organization needed the contribution at the moment. The Virginia Baptist Foundation provides an opportunity for us and others to have a donor advised fund whereby we can make contributions whenever we so desire, and then we can request that the contributions be distributed to an appropriate entity, such as in our case Salem Baptist Church. And we were very much motivated by that, and it was very pleasing to us to be able to put it into a fund and then be able to distribute it when it was appropriate, rather than distribute it to them at a time when perhaps it would not be used wisely. I guess, what will my legacy be? Hard telling. Hopefully a life fairly well lived. At least I tried hard. I think that this property has in many ways formed our life. Ann and I have lived here for 50 years as of May 4th. And living in a rural community, it was an opportunity to raise 2 children in yesteryear to some extent, to avoid some of the problems of today's world, and to enjoy the opportunity to be with grandchildren here on the property. When they come, they oftentimes will be outside 90% of the day and doing wholesome things, and I'm hoping that that will be something that our family will value and will pass on to generations.
Wouldn't you agree that Steve lived life to its fullest? He built a reputation as a world-class water skiing champion and lovingly trained his children and grandchildren as champions too. But more importantly, Steve and his wife Ann built a close-knit Christian family who faithfully served their church and community. Then came that unexpected diagnosis that forced Steve to face the valley of the shadow of death. Of course, there were days filled with frustration and fear, even moments of anxiety and denial. After all, surely as someone as vibrant and physically active as Steve couldn't be sick. Also, he deeply loved his family, and he knew his passing would take a tremendous toll on them. Yet, hope for heaven helped Steve overcome his dread of death. Instead of wallowing in sorrow, he sought comfort in God's promise that he would always be with him, as well as his family, every day, every step along the way, in heaven and on earth. So Steve kept his eyes on Christ and continued to create meaningful memories with family and friends. Steve truly focused on the greatest peace of all, everlasting life with him. Truly, God provided peace unstoppable. Now let's meet Dr. Brian Cloyd. In 2007, Brian and his wife Renee suffered one of life's greatest tragedies.
I'm Brian Cloyd. My wife, Renee, and I live here in Blacksburg, Virginia. We're members of Blacksburg Baptist Church, where we've been members since 2007. On April 16, 2007, I was in my office at Virginia Tech. Early morning, we found out that there was an active shooter on campus. My daughter was a freshman, and a little later that morning I found out that she was in the building, Norris Hall, at that time. When we were allowed to leave the building, I went over towards the building behind Norris Hall, which I think the police had sort of taken that as a command center. I went in and talked to see if they had her among the list of people that they were interviewing. On the drive home, in the car, I got a phone call from a unlisted number, and apparently it was someone I had spoken to when I had tried to get information earlier. And they told us that Austin was at the Roanoke Hospital. So we grabbed some things, hopped in the car, drove to Roanoke, and were pretty insistent that she was there, but they said, no, she's not here. Still remember that drive back. Very different than the drive over. It was later that night that some state policemen came to the house and told us that Austin had been killed. I don't know if it was the next day or the day after next, but we went to Virginia Tech and back to the inn at Virginia Tech to identify Austin from some photos that they had taken at the morgue. It didn't look like her, but it was her. And so that was, that's when it was hard to accept, but when we kind of had to accept that Austin had been killed. We saw Austin as well as so many of the people that died along with her on April 16 of 07 as people who had tremendous potential. And if they had lived out their lives as they otherwise would have been able to do, they would have had a tremendous impact on the world. And so that loss was something that I personally felt somewhat compelled to try to replace that to something to do to fill the void. In some ways that maintains a connection. That if I can do something with my life that I think Austin would like to have done. She was studying international relations, and so working in Haiti, I think sort of connected with that. Chris, this engineering student, told me that it's a Baptist church and they're looking for a Baptist person in the U.S. who can help them establish a connection with the church here to be a partner in their ministries. And he said, so you're a Baptist, right? So, yeah, I am. So I decided to go down and visit them. And that was my first trip to Haiti in July of 2008. Pastor Lanous, Joseph, wanted to take me out to a even more remote village called Tipelig. And they told us about the needs of the community. They needed a bridge. They also needed a school in their community, and of course they needed a church building for this new mission church to begin to grow. And I suddenly had a purpose. And it really changed my outlook that, this kind of work could be part of the healing process. So that school started to meet in fall of '09, and we started construction shortly after that. Thanksgiving of '09, I took a group of students, Virginia Tech engineering students, down to Haiti to take a look at whether they could build a bridge across the river. Bridge construction started in Thanksgiving of 2010. God always involved people in this activity who had the resources to do these things. Nick Mason, I started working with Nick when he was a sophomore. After he finished his master's at Virginia Tech in civil engineering, he said, "I'm looking for another opportunity to go back to Haiti and work. Do you have anything I can do?" "Yes, Nick. We're getting ready to start a construction project on building the biggest project yet, this big church in Conj. It would be very helpful if we had an on-site supervisor." And Nick said, "I'm in." He spent the next 11 months down there and finished that project on budget, ahead of schedule. At the bottom of the plaque is a verse from Matthew chapter 19:26. With God, all things are possible. Avec bon Dieu, tout bagaille possible. It's one of the few things I learned to say in Creole, but it also sort of became real to me because we had been asked to help in so many ways that seemed overwhelming. And yet, over a period of years, all of those things got done. Pastor Leon said, "Dream a dream so big that when it's done, you'll know it was God that made it happen." I can't imagine an experience in my life where that's been more true. So about 4 years ago, Renee and I started a donor advice fund through the Virginia Baptist Foundation. We're at the higher income earning years of our career. We like to max out our charitable giving in a way that creates a nest egg to be able to continue to support the school operations in Haiti. So we can do that through the donor advice fund, and then in the future have those funds transferred to Haiti after we're retired to continue to support the school. As part of our estate planning, we established a trust that the resources in which will go to Virginia Baptist Foundation upon our passing to fund something I think we're calling the Matthew 19:26 Fund. With God, all things are possible. The idea is that our state will be able to provide grants to people who are members of churches that want to start partnerships with other churches, like the church in Haiti, to help them with their ministry. And it sets up a matching fund situation.
It's hard to fathom the profound grief that Brian and Renee experienced following the death of their precious daughter. Stricken with anguish, overwhelmed by the public spotlight, and barely able to cope with the violent reality, they turned to their only stronghold, God. The Lord not only comforted them, He led Brian to fulfill his mission in Haiti. How miraculous that such a horrific tragedy netted such good works. Yet the scripture does promise, through God, all things are possible. Even the building of a bridge, a school, and a church in an impoverished land. Grief is natural, for even Jesus grieved. Yet over time, unchecked grief can destroy our joy, weaken our faith, crush our witness. Suffering either destroys us or it refines us. That's why we must turn to God and His promises of comfort. When we turn our focus on Him, His works, and His plans, He transforms our anguish and sorrow into peace unstoppable. I know these videos touched your heart and perhaps your soul. As we continue to ponder them in the days to come, may God guide our thoughts, may He increase our reliance and focus on Him, and may He continue to empower us as Christians unstoppable.
And I know this ain't easy, but we're both gonna make it through. You have to believe me, 'cause I